The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, Nicole Hutchison, and Jess Navarez.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys in the SWBC studio. I'm Nicole Hutchison alongside Aisha Morrison and Jess Navarez. Ladies!
Hello.
What's up? Sorry, we were laughing about something previously on air, so we're just getting our giggles out.
Yes.
But this was a big day for the Cowboys, getting a special little visit from Shaq Leonard, Colts, well, former Colts linebacker, four-time Pro Bowler, of course, of some great caliber. Jerry Jones and head coach Mike McCarthy stated obviously that they have a lot of interest in him. I know he ate lunch with Jerry Jones today, and they put him through a workout. So a lot of things that happened today, but he left with no deal, no contract, no nada. He about to go to Philly and, kind of weigh out his options. What is y'all's thoughts on the possibility of getting a guy like Shaq? Because, if I'm in his shoes, I think that it's probably the right fit, right thing to do to, kind of weigh out my options, right? And I think that's pretty dope that he's not just going for the decision right now or trying to make the decision right now.
Yeah, when you're in that level of experience and profession like Shaq is, you can weigh out your options, right? And you're not just talking to two iffy teams. You're talking to two playoff caliber teams that have really good rosters right now. So you also, as the player, have to weigh out where you fit in the best and how you're going to get the most out of any experience you go to, whether that be here, whether that be in Philly. And there's just a lot to weigh out for him, I'm sure. I'm not him, so I can't say for sure. But why would you not weigh out your options at that point? And so, yes, obviously he would be a great addition for the Cowboys if that's what he decides. But sometimes you just can't control when players want to go see other options, especially when they're two really good options. So.
Yeah, shocker. We talk about on this team, this show all the time that these players are human.
Yeah.
This is also his decision, too, because I was just seeing, I was like, what did y'all want him to do, be held hostage?
I know.
Have mercy. So just like anything, you're going to go weigh your options. I do agree with you, though, Nicole, is when you look at when Shaq, thrived the most in that Colts defensive system, he was blitzing. He was everywhere, and he was able to be an active player. And to your point, I do think the Cowboys would be a good fit. That's the dope thing about this Cowboys defense. Well, I think this offense is starting to do that too, but defensively, they've built such a foundation. We've seen so many players come in and have the best seasons of their careers and revamp their careers and things of that nature. We know that side of the ball gets the best out of guys and also really cares about what do you think you do well? Okay, let's help you do that. Let's help you, put that on display. And so when you talk about the decision, if he is supposed to be going to check out Philly. Also, too, you have to take into account the fact that he did have some things that happened to him in the Colts, and he may not, at this point in your career, we've talked about that. It's a big boy decision being like, okay, well, if he's playing for Philly right now, he has to be the guy. Consistently, because they are lacking at the linebacker position far more than what the Cowboys are. So you also, too, when you look at his decision, there's a lot of things he has to weigh, especially where he is in his career. I know they said they worked him out. Hopefully his health stuff checked out. But there are decisions to be made even with that. So I'm cool with it. But we don't know better than these folks that do this for a living. So I'm just, keeping my ears low to the ground and stuff. But that's the thing about, like I said, if he goes to Philly, hate to see him go to the green team or anything like that. However, there would be a lot more asked of him there, I do believe. So
yeah,
I was
looking at I was looking at the contract, like his contract details, and the Colts already owe $28 million. So the Cowboys would win if we do get a guy like Leonard, because they wouldn't have to pay him that much.
Yeah, they win regardless. They win. They win regardless, right?
Yeah.
If they are able to lock him down, it's just a matter of Aisha. I'm glad you brought up the health concerns, because he did come off of a back injury that he re-aggravated, which ended up being one of the contributing factors that got him on IR last season. So it is one of those concerns, and Jerry talked about it on the Fan this morning, and he said that was one of the biggest questions going into the visit, was how health-wise things were going to shape out. And so obviously those aren't answers that we know we have, but if all checks out with that, if you can get him in this roster, you really just have an additive to your team. And something that I really liked that the guys on the Fan asked this morning was, hey, you have former teammates of his with Malik Hooker and Stephon Gilmore. Do you kind of ask, these players what kind of a teammate he is? And Jerry was like, you already know what teammate he is, because you know what he does and contributes off the field as well. So not only are you getting a great on-the-field productive player if he is healthy to do so, but you also get a really good off-the-field locker room guy that we always talk about, that we enjoy working with, and that just makes a big difference in the locker room.
Yeah. I have a question. So let's, again, hypothetically say that the Cowboys sign him, the deal works out. If you get a guy like Leonard and add him to that linebacker room, you got Marquise Bell, Damone Clark, all those guys, where is there kind of chess that you play there? Because then you got Micah that can line up on the defensive line, and then there's so many ways, I guess, that you can play chess with that.
Well, for me, and this is just how I look at it, number one, Marquise Bell's played fantastic football. And so, however they do choose to use him, if he is here, I don't want that to take away from him, but also I would have him in on running downs.
Okay.
And Marquise Bell can be out there on third downs because he brings a lot more speed. He also does a lot more. He does a lot in coverage. Yeah. And so for me, also too, if he does still have the ability to blitz and rush how he used to, we could also see him maybe doing some of those things, or decoying or showing or disguising some things because of Micah and stuff. It also could possibly free up Micah Parsons a little bit, but again, I personally would use him on rundowns because he sees it very well. And we've seen, although Marquise Bell's played fantastic football, teams have found favorable matchups at times with this smaller linebacker core and taking advantage of that. Hey, fix that. Fix that real quick and allow him to come in and be in on some of those downs, and then let Marquise Bell be the guy in coverage, or those third and long situations where that a team is trying to pass. Hey, okay, you go out there. I know you can cover the flats, and I know that you can also rally and tackle. So that's how I would use him.
Yeah, I also think, like you said, it frees up Micah to do what Micah does best, which is be an edge rusher more than a linebacker. And so since Leighton Vander Esch has been out, he's been more of a hybrid, right? And I think that's kind of where a lot of this conversation comes in of, is he as productive? He's not doing the same thing when he was getting all of those sacks, because he has had to kind of shift where he is with Leighton being out. And we knew that was going to happen because Dan had talked about it when everything had first come down. But if you can get him, please.
No, dude, it could be huge, because you're talking about, we talked about it yesterday. Yeah. If you had an Achilles heel or blase, or something that you have not seen consistently, it's the run defense. Yeah. How can you get better at that? Better at the second level. And it could really change things. But to your point, when you mentioned Micah, it also just makes your defense multiple again, multiple, and we've seen that is this defensive coordinators, they play the matchup game well. So it's, for me, I'm like, you're just adding another piece that can help you in the long run, because like we talked, it's about to get cold. Teams gonna want to run. Yeah. What if they can't?
And he's a plug and play kind of player. Although
he's ready.
Although that's perfect. He's kind of a ramp up guy, which the Cowboys will do, and you've seen it notoriously, but he's a plug-and-play kind of player that he's in football shape, because you hear that a lot of, he's in shape, but he's not in football shape. He's already in football shape. I think it really would just depend on what the medical evaluation said. Yeah. But I think he's the kind of guy you can just kind of put in there automatically.
Does it matter?
And ready to go.
Does it matter that I thought I saw that it was reported that he's looking for not just a this year deal?
I mean, it could.
So if that was the case, if that is the case, right, then the conversation of the health stuff does come into conversation because you're trying to figure out. We got to find a happy medium.
Right.
Cowboys is drafting linebacker to me this upcoming draft regardless. Let me tell you something. But I will say that's going to matter. You know, I think how long he wants the contract wants to be. So hopefully they can find a happy medium because like you said, Nicole, I think he's a great fit. And for this run they about to have to go on and the playoffs and stuff like that, baby.
So you're saying that he would automatically come in and play?
He's going to have to. No, I mean, in fairness, he has to learn this scheme. He has to fit. He has to figure things out in that regard. However, he's in game shape, and that matters because we talked about that with several players that have been brought in last minute. Are they in football shape? This guy's been playing in the football season, and also too, back to the point, you have a linebacker room. You're plugging him in situationally and stuff too. So it's like he could be even fresher, you know. So
and not only that, but you're talking about in terms of, you know, you have 6 games left after this week. So if the deal were to happen sooner rather than later, you give him time to learn the playbook, learn the scheme, because as we know, a Dan Quinn scheme is not very easy to pick up on. And you give him time. Guess what's after that? The postseason, playoff time. You just made your team stronger just in time for a postseason run. If that does happen. Again, we don't know. Yeah. But I don't blame him for looking at other options when he's at that level in his career that he doesn't have to jump to the first opportunity. I mean, really.
Yeah, I'm like,
y'all don't see where he can get the most out of it, right? Because you're even talking about money at that point. So
people act so brand new, like they don't go on Target and then go on Amazon and compare prices.
Well, look, you even compare it to a regular job search, right? Like coming from somebody who went off of a job search not too long ago. You compare your options and you compare every kind of nuance you can when you're looking for a regular job in your day-to-day lives, because it matters. It matters when you have a family. It matters when you're looking for a certain amount of money. It matters the area you're moving to. These things all matter for football players too, because, oh my goodness, guess what? They're human.
And it's their new home that they have to settle with.
It is. And so, yes, we love the Star. We love Dallas. But I'm sure he did. I mean, it's hard not to love this place when you walk in here. But weigh out your options. I don't blame him for doing that, and I don't think there's a sense of panic of, oh no, a deal didn't get done. There's nothing to know yet. Let him weigh out his options.
Baby. Yeah. You know another thing about, I ain't gonna go in on the green team. But
I will.
But I ain't gonna go in on the green team, but
go in.
I'll go in.
I'm going.
There's just a lot there's a lot going on with their defensive scheme as a whole. This just might be the better choice, here.
You know,
no big deal.
If he's listening to this podcast, we would love to meet you. I'm
not gonna go in on the schematics of it all, but
right.
Seattle,
yes,
the Hawks from the sea.
Stop saying that.
They say it rain all the time there.
Maybe Hawks from the sea.
That's what she tweeted. That's why I kept laughing before the show started.
Pocket.
What?
You so out of pocket.
She said
somebody said the birds of Seattle like trying to be funny, and I'm like, dang, y'all ain't got no respect.
That was respectful. It's just another way to say their name.
The Hawks of the Sea.
Yeah, the Hawks, the sea kind.
Yeah, let's go ahead and break down this.
I'm sorry. Okay, let's be serious.
I'm sorry.
Please.
Let's go ahead and break down this offense, ladies. Geno Smith. We got Kenneth Walker, who is actually might be questionable. We don't know if we're going to see him
with an oblique.
On the backfield. Huh?
An oblique?
I think so. Yeah. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, injury.
I know Christian McCaffrey was able to play on his. But, okay.
Hold on. I'm trying to pull up the injury
report. Go ahead and pull it up.
Well, because I'm only saying... Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask... So as far as this offense, this offensive line is where I'm going to start with.
It hurts.
I believe he was sacked 6 times. last week against the 49ers.
Yeah.
They do not win matchups up front, and I think that's where it's going to start, of course. So that gives guys like Hank, like I was saying yesterday, Osa, like a game that they should really be able to have a big game. I'm not worried about this offense. I'm not worried about this offensive line at all.
Yeah, I took a look at a couple of games. I really went back and watched Seattle versus the Ravens because I think the Ravens have one of the best. Yeah, I think the Ravens have one of the best defenses in the NFL, if not the best defense in the NFL right now. But I also wanted to see because they kind of fly around to the ball, similar to the Cowboys. So, yeah, to your point, Nicole. Fantastic point there. Their offensive line is really struggling. It's really they can get, you can get interior pressure, but it truly is their tackles. Charles Cross, who I think a lot of folks coming out when he came out the draft, they thought he was going to be a good player. He has not lived up to what people thought he was going to be. And you have a Cowboys legend / Philly legend Jason Peters over there at right tackle right now.
True Cowboys legend.
True, through and through. He's over there,
guy.
And fantastic guy. Not a right tackle. We saw that ourselves.
Yeah.
Yet he's playing right tackle right now.
Yeah.
And it's just tough. They're giving up a lot of leverage early off the line of scrimmage. Quarterback is being like the pocket is collapsing quickly. The thing about the pocket collapsing quickly, though, Nicole, is that that does open up the A and B gaps for that quarterback to escape, which he will do. But baby, yes, this offensive line in pass pro has really been struggling, and Seattle likes to throw the ball down the field a lot. You can't do that if you ain't got no time.
Yeah, and I know Smith is tied for 4th highest pressure rate in the NFL.
Thank you. Come on, stats.
That's wild.
No,
That's wild.
It's serious business, dude, and it's really like. I believe that they had another right tackle that was playing, but I think he's coming back from injury, and he don't look that much. Who is he? I forgot your notebook.
Yeah, my notebook is not in the room with us. I'm so sorry.
It's all right, no worries. We got you.
Is sitting on my counter.
But not
No, what I will say though is, so the practice report is not out yet for them, but they're dealing with a handful of injuries, guys. This practice report from yesterday has a good amount on there, but what I did want to make mention of is I think this game kind of defines the Seahawks season.
Yeah.
The rest of their season. This is
This is a
playoff
huge
now
game.
or never.
You're right.
They need to win this game.
Oh, yeah.
So, as much as we can sit here and talk about, the Cowboys have the upper hand, this team needs to win this game. The Seahawks need to win this game to stay alive postseason for that wild card spot. And that's only because the Rams decided to come back out of nowhere, give them a run for their money. Hello. And then, of course, you have the 49ers leading the NFC West, as we know, 8-3 right now. But the Seahawks need this game to have a pulse if they want a chance in the postseason.
Right.
They're going to come out with everything they have. Pete Carroll is not going to sit back and be like,
For sure.
let's just do what you need to do over here. No. We want to talk about unscouted looks, giving everything they have, and we just talked about this yesterday. I didn't realize how much playoff contention was really based on this game for the Seahawks until I really started digging into it yesterday, but it is a big matchup for them. So, don't discredit anything that they're going to throw at the Cowboys, whether they are struggling or not with that offensive line.
Yeah, I agree. Can't fix not being strong in the tackle position. You're right. Like, the unscouted looks may exist, but execution is half the battle. They can draw it up how they want to. This offense, a lot of this offense runs through the run game too. And so when you talk about the injury report, Jess, are you able to?
We have yesterday's.
Okay.
So today's has not been released.
I don't think they sent us one either.
That's okay.
No, they didn't send one
didn't send
yesterday.
one.
I was doing some social media stalking on some of their reporters.
That's okay. I know that.
Who did you want to make mention of?
Kenneth Walker really to me is the biggest one.
Oblique, he did not participate in practice yesterday.
Okay. He's the biggest one for me because their run game, a lot of their offense is really based off of play action. They're 4th in the league on play action usage, 2nd in success rate. So it does a lot for them. And the reason why it does a lot for them is because they have good backs.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker is toting that rock. and he's shifty. His vision is good. And then they have Charbonnet, who is someone I had the pleasure to cover in the draft. Really tall runner. Yeah. So it's crazy to say, but when you're tackling him, you can't tackle him like you tackle Kenneth Walker. I actually talked to some of the guys about it in the locker room, and they was like, yeah, you got to bring him down to the ground. You got to tackle him. Because, yes, he takes – sure, tackling is going to be important in this game, especially with their running backs. But I will say, like I said before, with Kenneth Walker, whether he's ready to go or not is going to be important because he can gash you everywhere, inside, outside, big runs. He has great acceleration, and he can really cut quick and go to the house. So run defense would be tested either way without Kenneth Walker. But, man, if he was playing, it makes a difference because this offensive line, to your point, they play better. Their run blocking is better than their pass blocking. It's clearly one of their strengths. So it's huge finding out if he's going to be able to go or not. He also does a lot in pass pro, too.
And then another guy, too, as far as run blocking, pass pro, Will Dissly, their tight end. He did not participate yesterday with a hip injury.
I haven't seen them really get their tight ends involved, though.
I mean, but if they're acting desperate, you gotta be ready. You have to be.
You're
look,
right. She's right.
I mean,
I'm just saying you have to be ready for anything, and especially if they're playing desperate with a banged up O line, a tackle that's you have to be ready. But will Dissly? Am I saying that correctly?
Dissly?
Yeah,
is
I think so.
What does it look like?
Dissly. I'm not looking at him.
I think that's how you say it.
But he also is just a receiving threat in general. Gino likes to throw to Will. So they're just banged up right now, guys. I mean, it's that part of the season. They are banged up. They had, 5 players not participate in practice yesterday, 4 with limited participation as well, and then 2 full participants dealing with shoulder injuries there. So they're banged up.
All right, we're going to break down more of this matchup coming up right after the break. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be right back.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
For youth football and dance camps presented by Invisalign. Don't miss your chance to learn from the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and former NFL players at AT&T Stadium on December 22nd and 23rd. Celebrate the holidays with the Cowboys. Register today at dallascowboys.com/camps.
Yep.
Cool.
Woo.
Yep.
I ain't got a little transition.
Slay.
I'm just gonna go straight into it, ladies. I ain't got it today. No, you were kind of touched on how Gino, they run a lot of play action. And something that some of my notes, I kind of saw that he's not as accurate, though, as he was last year. That's something that I kind of put together. Of course, like winning that starting role last year, becoming comeback player of the year from the year before that. I mean, he's not the same player. He's less accurate. And then you have a guy that's a rookie. I cannot pronounce his name. Njigba, who is struggling with consistency. Consistency leads all rookie wide receivers in drops this season. Yeah. He has the weapons in Tyler Lockett, of course, DK, but it's
disappointing.
I mean, it seems very kind of like one-dimensional and not an easily disguised offense.
The quarterback.
This is interesting. Sorry.
Who did it?
Sorry. I'm looking at a reporter that covers the Seahawks, and he tweeted out that Pete Carroll is playing it coy on injuries today. And obviously I can't listen to this video right now, but it says that the Seahawks don't have to do game status report until tomorrow. So...
Wait.
I don't know what that means.
So they're not going to have an injury report until tomorrow?
Well, I don't think they'll do game projection status until tomorrow, which I thought they usually did.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm scouring for that injury report today, and that's what popped up.
Speaking of Pete Carroll. No. That's
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's facts. To your point, to add on to your point, Nicole, it's been disappointing.
Yeah.
It really has for me. When I went back and watched Geno, I mean, watching him last year kind of reemerge and you could see how many he was one of the best deep ball throws in the NFL last year. I mean, he was humming and
had the highest completion percentage.
But to kind of see how things have kind of tapered down this year again, listen, QB's only as good as their offensive line to me. I'm sorry. Like, I know a lot of people think, well, you should be able to overcome it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, have you seen this? I do think that plays a big role in things, but his mechanics have been up and down as well, where he's getting toesy or he gets happy feet in the pocket or he's overthrowing guys and they're open because his feet aren't set because he doesn't trust his protection. It's a lot going on there. And so to go back to the Twitter machine, seen a quote from Pete Carroll, and he said someone was asking him what the keys to victory versus the Cowboys were, and he said reading more quickly and getting the ball out more readily so we can avoid the pass rush. Of all the things in particular, like this week, we need to get the ball out. The ball has to get out of his hands so that we don't have to give the rusher a chance. If there's anything in particular that's what I'm hoping for. That Geno Smith can find his reads and get the ball out ahead of the rush. Now listen, he talking to his quarterback because the quarterback is holding the ball so long.
2.91 seconds, is it? Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, he is waiting for people to get open.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
He's waiting for people to get open. And the only guy that can get open consistently like what he's waiting for is Tyler Lockett.
I'm so cutting that video later.
My bad. Not,
Just a little dance.
And wherever he's lined up, he's going to get locked down.
Yeah, and that's
I don't care.
and don't get me wrong. I believe this secondary will be tested because they do have the skill players. I think Tyler Lockett is so criminally underrated. Great route runner. He understands the game. He has a really good feel. He'll sit in zones and wait for you. He's good. And then DK Metcalf is big, physical, but DK's not moving all across the formation. So it's easier to kind of take him away sometimes.
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett is everywhere. And then obviously you talked about Jackson Smith and Jigba, good route runner, still young, still learning some things, and so you can catch him slipping there. So this quarterback is he got a lot of trust in his wide receivers to get open. And I like some of the things they do conceptually, where they're stacking the line, they're spreading them out, they do bunch formations, like their concepts are good, but that quarterback is holding on to the ball too long.
Can't do that.
But when they are firing and the ball's coming out fast, if there's, like you said, Jess, this is do or die for them. So that could be Pete Carroll. He said it to his player. He's saying it to the media, so the player here too.
Yeah.
Stop holding on to that damn ball that long.
Well, and you also talk about a bit of an Achilles heel for this Cowboys defense, and sometimes that is giving up those explosive big plays.
Then that's what they thrive on.
And that is going to be their bread and butter if they want to stay alive in this matchup. They're gonna have to go for those big plays, and they cannot play conservatively, holding the ball, waiting for it to happen. They're just gonna have to chunk it downfield because it's just attacking a sore spot. Yeah, girl, it's your show.
Keep going.
It's just attacking a sore spot for the Cowboys defense, which we have talked about multiple times. It is on film.
Yeah.
Just saying, Cowboys secondary really gonna have to lock it down
and look for those big plays to happen earlier on. Kind of going back to what you were saying. So and the Cowboys have struggled with slow starts. The first couple of drives, it's always been slow starts for them. So that's something that has to be a really key.
It's the execution as well, because to their credit, last game they did come out trying to go quick. I mean,
for sure.
CD was open.
Yeah.
Quarterback overthrew.
It's okay.
And so so I'm just saying, like, they have to execute also too, so those starts aren't slow. But I will say, I was looking at the Seahawks offense overall and how they've scored this last 4 years. They're averaging 15 points a game this last 4 games. So they are struggling to get going, and in part, I believe that a lot of that has to do the quarterback not trusting that offensive line, holding on to the ball too long. He's fumbling in the pocket. Also, too, one thing I noticed with the Ravens defense, they had like 3 batted balls in that game. That lets me know they're getting a lot of penetration.
Yeah.
And they're getting there. So hopefully look for the Cowboys to be doing those things, getting their arms out in these passing lanes, because I actually talked to Dan Quinn about this a few weeks ago. How do you counteract teams getting the ball out fast?
Yeah.
What can you do? So that's coverage. So again, like you said, these DBs gonna have to come play.
Yeah.
And also getting your hands up in these passing lanes and just putting your hands up, just to change where they're throwing the ball. So you can only do what you can do. So you have to figure out how to counteract that anyway. And that was something I saw the Ravens do. And once one of those guys saw they could do it, it was happening from different places on the line where it was at least 3 or 4 batted balls in that Ravens game. So that's something to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Tank. Osa.
Hank is pretty good.
I think Hankins has had a couple of them too. So yeah, hopefully that's something that the guys are practicing and we're able to see. So, like I said, offensively, there's things that they can do. They use their running backs as receivers sometimes. They get them out in space. But if Kenneth Walker can't go, that's huge. And if this offensive line can hold up in pass pro, they will gas you down the field and make you pay.
They had scored 3 offensive touchdowns in the last 4 games.
Chitty. Bang, bang. That is so,
rough, man.
It's rough, but it just tells you.
But that's something that we were kind of concerned about, earlier on in the season.
The red zone?
The red zone offense. So it's just kind of like, at this point of the season, if you struggling like that.
I mean, shout out to having Tyron Smith back in the seat.
Hello.
And Terrence still playing good football.
In the offensive line.
We take it for granted because even when you look back to the beginning of the season, how many teams can have 3 backup offensive linemen and your offense still move the ball down the field efficiently? This comes to show you that, this offensive line, although we're really picky and, I can say it. Sometimes I'm like, they're not doing enough. Yeah. They're still one of the better offensive lines in the NFL because what they got going on over there, what Jadeveon Clowney did to them, I seen it.
You seen it?
I seen it with my own 2 eyes, and it was bad. They scored 3 They scored 3 points. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything offensively because their tackles were that bad. And they just can't keep repeating that because We'll see what you got, Pete. I'm gonna see what Pete got.
I'm interested to see how they attack the Cowboys early on because
they're gonna
try.
Just like that. Okay.
They're gonna try to open it up.
I mean, that was a beautiful handoff. I loved it.
I was watching Ford do it.
Oh, love that.
For Geno Smith, you see him a little bit trying to be mobile. I don't think he's that mobile quarterback. But do you think they'll kind of throw in a little bit of that?
It's not like his. It's not his niche by any means. But if they need to move the ball, he's gonna need to move.
Yeah. He will.
He's gonna need to get out of the pocket and scramble because again, run defense. We're gonna hear this all week, but. That's how you test it. You want a true Achilles heel that you've seen notably, and that's mobile quarterbacks. And that goes along with the RPO. That's why Jalen Hurts has been successful against the Cowboys and making those big plays happen. So although that's not Geno's forte, like you said, or something that he does a lot of, right? Because he'll do it, and he can do it. It doesn't mean you might not see it. Especially if they're playing desperate and they need to get ahead early or they're trying to play catch up. Absolutely.
I was taking a look.
Yeah.
He suffered a right elbow injury in the 3rd quarter against the Rams last week. And it was something that was bothering him. It bothered him. And it's kind of what happens when there's people in your face all the time on the defense. You get your arms hit. You get your it happens. That's what happens. And so I they're saying they're optimistic about him and whatever the case may be, but that is also something to consider.
Run game.
So they may really lean heavily on their run game, as you said, Jess, and it's all right.
I need a bold pick from this defense.
Yeah.
Just bold anything. Do you feel like Duron's going to get another pick 6?
I always feel that way, yeah. Yeah. I do.
It's possible.
I do.
Because like you said, his accuracy.
If they throw the ball, though.
Accuracy,
If they throw the ball, if
they test him either.
Well, if Gino's dealing with an elbow injury, it's hard to say how much he's actually going to try to make those big chunk plays, even though you have a prime opportunity to try to take advantage of the Cowboys at this point. Kind of can't if you're dealing with an elbow injury, right? So it's hard to say if it'll be in this game, but bold prediction, Tank is going to have himself a game. And I don't think that's really a bold prediction, but...
I was going to say Tank is going to have a forced fumble return for a touchdown.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Like a stripper sack?
Yep.
Yeah. I love that.
Sack. I do. I couldn't put my finger on who is going to do it, but I do believe we will see a strip sack in this game.
It's coming.
Strip sack, maybe a return, like you said, because that's one thing. I told you, I just watched it. The Ravens did it to him.
Yeah.
He will let that ball go in the pocket. And Mike McCarthy told us earlier this year, that's where a lot of the turnovers are coming from. They're not coming from interceptions. They're coming from fumbles in the pocket. So, yeah, I second that. I do think Tank is going to have a good day.
Yeah. All right. Well, ladies, we're going to take our second break. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be right back.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Experience the most electrifying event of the holiday season, Cowboys Christmas Extravaganza, powered by Reliant. Every Friday and Saturday night from November 17th through December 16th, Cowboys Christmas Extravaganza ignites the star in Frisco with an unforgettable holiday performance showcasing 65 performers, including the world-renowned Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, Santa Claus, and appearances from your favorite Dallas Cowboys football heroes. Visit thestardistrict.com for more information. Right. We love Santa.
We love Santa. We also love our QB. Dak Prescott playing absolutely amazing.
Especially after having to see this again.
I don't want to.
Yeah. Dak Prescott absolutely just, lighting things up for this offense. And Aaron Rodgers had some great things to say about Dak Prescott. We're going to go ahead and run that soundbite real quick for you.
Hand, and what is like the evolution of cadences that we've got to this point where there's so many different ones seemingly at the same time?
Well, I think that's a great question. I mean, first I want to talk about Dak because he's become one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. I've watched more football this year than any other year because in normal years you're getting ready for a game, so you're never watching football, right? And you might see some scores on your phone, and maybe every now and then, see a Sunday night game, and you might get part of Monday or Thursday, but you're just not watching a lot of games. And this year I watched a lot more games than usual. And, Tom had some comments about, Brady had some comments about some of the mediocrity in the game. And I just want to say Dak is not who he was talking about.
Okay.
For a number of reasons. But I just love that he's really playing the position. What I mean by that is I'm watching him make Ringo calls. So that's protection adjustments against these crazy looks and picking things up. I'm watching him, bring the tight end back in against the zero pressure and throw an old concept we used to run for a touchdown to CeeDee Lamb in the back of the end zone. I'm watching him use his cadence beautifully and get into this rhythmic, here we go, into like dummy, using it as a dummy sometimes, doing it twice, into like other cadences. I mean, the last 4 or 5 weeks I've gotten to see more of their games, and I just want to say, like, he's playing a position in a really impressive way. And for whatever reason, maybe because he's the Cowboys quarterback and it's one of those premier positions in sports, like I feel like the Green Bay quarterback has been for a long time, and some other, positions in various sports, he might take a little more than he deserves, or maybe it's deserving of the position, I guess. But I love the way he's playing, and I love the way he's playing, like really playing. I'm not talking about just like, making good throws. I'm talking about like, it seems more rare that guys are actually really playing a position where you're making adjustments, you're handling everything line of scrimmage. Now you're doing this crazy cadence stuff. Like, I love it, and I just want to shout out Dak for like really impressing me. Multiple times.
He said it. I can't say the exact word because we can't cuss on here, but taking a lot of barnacles.
Love that.
From everybody. And to hear something like that from Aaron Rodgers is priceless.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty special. Because a lot of people, we ain't been hearing Dak Prescott's the highest graded quarterback in the league right now. Nope. Dak Prescott is leading the Cowboys to the #1 scoring offense. But before, it was all, is Dak Prescott really Cowboys legend?
Is he worth
Is he
it?
really,
Interceptions.
Does he deserve it?
There's so many things that was just pointing at Dak Prescott's way, and they're real quiet now, which is strange. So I think that was pretty dope of Aaron to really recognize how special Dak has really been playing the past couple of weeks.
I'm gonna go last because this makes me excited.
Go ahead.
I think a lot of people look at Tom Brady as their GOAT, and as much as I can't stand Aaron Rodgers, like, beating the Cowboys as much as he has, when I look at the position of quarterback, he's always been the complete quarterback to me. Because there's such a growth in this position, and that's why I said a few weeks ago when we were talking about Bryce Young, you have to be very careful in how you evaluate them because there's so much that goes into it. And it's been a pleasure to watch Dak develop into this quarterback, into the complete package. Yeah. It's the complete package, and to see him putting it together, the adjusting at the line of scrimmage, the cadence changes, knowing his protection, really understanding his offensive line, because we talked about that. They were winning games, even when Terrence Steele had that time of struggling, because the quarterback understood the timing. He understood the angles and everything. And so, and also too, we talked, like, the fact that he's even taken in this completely new offense, let's keep it a buck.
Yeah.
And that it's in motion at this point in the season. We talk about the leadership, we talk about all that stuff, but the football player is playing like a complete and total quarterback. I love me some year 8 Dak. If you talk about the position, this is what you're looking for. Yeah. And I feel very reassured in my film study because I got to like see him grow, but to hear Aaron Rodgers say it really should put it in perspective, because he was one of the best at using his cadence, drawing guys off sides, free plays, substitutions, making big time throws and big time moments, not having a good offensive line. I mean, he's done it all. I also felt like, low key, it's a little compliment to MM, but we're just gonna stay out of that because you can't talk about the quarterback playing this good of football without the QB whisperer that he knows. So it's just been dope. And the cadence thing is funny to me because it was like my third week here or something last year, and I went up to him and I was like, it was my first interaction with Dak was like, I told her, we were watching it and I was like, his cadence different. And she was like, what? And I was like, I'm obsessive, trust me. His cadence is different. Caught him on the walk-off on it was literally like our second week here, I think.
I think it was probably our second time going to the locker room.
Yeah, and I caught him on the walk-off, and I was like, I know you can't tell me too much, but you changed your cadence, did you? And he was like, you noticed that? Because nobody had mentioned it yet. And I was like, this is clearly different. This don't sound the same. So it's cool to see him even taking it from where it was last year to now to where he's using it as a weapon, as Aaron Rodgers said. And so I'm sorry. It makes me excited as a football person and someone that loves the game to see a quarterback that came in that people did not think could play to this level, really be disciplined in his playbook, take on different OCs, and to understand the game to this level that he's playing at right now. It's just really dope to see in real time, and it should be inspiring for other guys that are fourth round, lower level picks, whatever, that can come in and do it too.
I like that.
I'm sorry. Here's my dog. Here's my dog.
All right. Any quick things you want to say?
I think we know how I feel about that.
Yeah,
I think we know.
I think dope,
we know
bro.
how I feel about this. But I will say, just thinking in the larger scope of things, Dak came into the Dallas Cowboys under a Kellen Moore offensive run scheme. And with Mike McCarthy, what Mike's been able to do for Dak, even just this season alone, the last 3 years, but this season alone should show you how much these two are clicking. That even Jerry Jones said this morning on The Fan, he feels confident that this is the best ball Dak Prescott has played since his tenure started here with the Dallas Cowboys. And so just all credit to Dak for the work he puts in, that he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to put in all the extra time and extra work that he does. He doesn't have to do any of that, but he does because he wants to win. He has a winning mentality. And I'm just... it makes me so emotional. I'm excited to see him grow up. Yeah. We've grown up with Dak. We've grown up watching him start and be the hot hand that Jason Garrett referred to back when Tony Romo was still here. And then he didn't even have facial hair yet. He didn't even have his little scruff. And then now you go in, you talk to him. He is... And we're so blessed to be in this position, right, to be able to say this, but he's absolutely the guy you think he is, and then more. Any conversation you have with him is genuine. It's authentic. And for me, obviously, yes, the play just matches the person you talk to in the locker room each and every week. So I'm just happy for him in this new chapter in his life. And keep playing lights out, for.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Lights out.
Let's get it.
His dad's strength. That's been making him
he did.
play
He did.
so well. So... we need that dad strength to continue
Let's
on
go.
Thursday.
It's getting real.
That's a wrap for Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!